Hello everyone and welcome to the Nekozuki Knits podcast. This is episode 56 and my name is Katie and I am joined right now by Quality Control Inspector Flynn, who doesn't really want to be here. He's still purring, but he's like, I don't like being held. Anyway, so he is now about 17 and a half months old. I figured it was a good time to show you because you haven't seen him since August. He's got his magnificent winter coat in, which is a pain to maintain. We've had to cut a little bit of his ruff out because he kept matting under his chin, but he's much happier for it. I think next year we might take a little bit of proactive and trim a little bit of the fluff as it comes in. He is about 15 pounds now, and he's still got about 2 to 3 more years to grow. Yeah, he really wants to go, so we'll do that. Anyway, today is Thursday, March 1st, 2018. Hello to everyone. I'm sorry I am a little bit delayed this week, but you know, well, no, I delayed by a week. But, yeah, I don't know what happened last week. It just did not happen, didn't have the mojo. So again, I'm approaching this with I want to bring as much positive energy in it as I can, and last week was not it. So the good news is that I've gotten a little bit of knitting done. A lot of my time was actually spent on a pair of mittens that I have to get the recipient, who was supposed to be a surprise, to try on now and see if they actually fit or what she prefers, because one mitten came out decent and a nice size for my hand, which I'm pretty sure is fairly similar to hers, but the second mitten is really tight, like uncomfortably tight, and so I don't know if that will fly or not. So I'm gonna get her to try them on this weekend and we'll see what she wants to do, because they were supposed to be a surprise gift, but you know, I would prefer them to fit than and have her wear them than it be a surprise. And sorry, there's yarn all over my needles here, so we'll just get right into it. I am knitting a pair of vanilla self-striping socks out of Mud Punch. This is Life in a Glass House. Last time you saw it, I think I was only within this first couple stripes here, or maybe just even on the toe. I don't remember exactly, but I am on the heel now, and the mate is already finished, so I'm gonna zoom along. Excuse me. This has just been carry along knitting for the gym and such, when I'm on the treadmill, just to kind of have something to do with my hands after the run. And it'll be done pretty soon, actually. Then the other thing that I picked up and knit a little bit on last night is the Good Vibes shawl by Nadia Cretin-Lachan, NCL_knits on social media. And I'm knitting this out of Ancient Arts Yarns Socknado. I met Stephen West and I liked it, is the body color. And then the Socknado Twisters, which are the mini skeins, in the highlighters colorway. And I think I mentioned this last time, but I had been desperately looking for a way to incorporate these two together, because I knew they would look fantastic, and they do. So I think last time I was on the green stripe, so I finished this kind of middling stripe of the Stephen West, and then started the pink stripe here. So I'm really liking it. I think it's going to turn out gorgeous. It's going to be a really fun shawl, but I am going to have to find something to wear it with. I'm not 100% sure what I'm going to pair with. So there's that. And then the final thing that I knit on, well, and so this is mostly a faux. So those were whips. This is a mostly faux. It's the Owls Pullover by Kate Davies, but I made it a cardigan. So basically I knit the whole thing and then I steeked it, and then I did what Kate Davies refers to as a steek sandwich. So if you look in here, because I haven't closed it up yet, there's the steek. I crochet reinforced it. There you go. Let's see if I can actually get it to focus on it, brighten up a bit. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to tack that closed. Obviously tuck this in and everything like that, but it's knit so that there's a top part knit and then there's a back part knit, and it makes a really nice finish. I should have done a 2x2 or 1x1 rib, but I didn't. So that did kind of screw up the button band. So what I did instead was I didn't do as many rows for the sandwich. Then I did the 3-needle bind off basically and switched to a purl. And then I did the buttonhole, a row of garter, and then an I-cord bind off. Now, it does screw up the button placement, but basically what I'll do is I'll just put it closer to the edge here. So on this side. I think it will look fine. I think it's a nice finish. It matches the rest of the sweater, which is nice. I also have to figure out what I want to do. Holy. Let's just like wash everything up. Anyway, I do need to figure out what I'm going to do with the owls. If I'm going to do like buttons or beads or embroidery for their eyes, or if I'm going to do eyes at all. It does need all the ends woven in, a really good blocking, and then I'll sort that out and put buttons on, and then it will be done. Couple modifications. So the non-modifications are I use the needles and pattern, and then I use Cascade Eco Wool Plus in their fuchsia colorway, which I've done before. I have used Eco Wool Plus for this sweater for my niece actually. I only used 2 skeins. I don't have much of the second skein left, but I did use only 2 skeins, which is nice. I've had the yarn in my stash for about 3.5 years. Wait. How long have I been married? 2014. Yeah, 3.5 years. Okay, yeah, no, sorry, I'm just adding up because I'm like, but we moved into our house 3 years ago in June. But if we got married in July, that means, yeah, whatever. My math was off. Anyway, the modification I did make is I've got a longer piece in here before the waist decreases. I actually forgot that there was waist decreases, so this worked out perfect because I was going to add length. But it's better to have the length over my hips than in my waist, because I always have a problem with my sweaters fitting from like the underarm down, the torso part. And I'm not quite sure where the length is. I don't think it's in my waist. I think it is in my hips. But it'll fit nice. It'll cover my bum, which will be good. And I also made the sleeves longer because I always have issues with sleeve length. So those really easy modifications to make. But something to keep in mind if you're planning a sweater for yourself, that my 2 skeins of yarn included those modifications as well. So, yeah, so I finished that mostly. Just basically it's just the finishing work to be done now. And otherwise I haven't done much. I actually did something to my shoulder before or at Christmas. It's starting to feel better now, but it's been really sore for the past 2 months. So knitting kind of gets put to the wayside when it's like starting to hurt me because I don't want to make it worse. I did really exacerbate it this past week with swimming, so I'm listening to my body so that I don't damage myself, because it's very important to be able to do the knitting and the sewing and everything else too. So there hasn't been a lot of knitting. I did get quite a bit of reading done, so I'll do reading and then we'll go into chatter. So I set aside a Kata Warrior by Nnedi Okorafor for now. I will come back to it. I'm really excited for it. It's just that I needed a break from that. I started Midnight Pearls, which was a Little Mermaid rewrite, and put it down. I couldn't read it. I actually returned it. And then I read Everlasting by Angie Fraser, which was good. It's got a sequel that I'll probably pick it up because the story wasn't really finished in the first book. And then I read... What else did I read? Oh, Moon and Sun, Ice and Snow. It's by Jessica Day George. This will be in the show notes. It's a retelling of East of the Sun, West of the Moon, which is basically a reiteration of Psyche and Cupid. It's a really old Greek myth, but it's along the same lines of Beauty and the Beast, or a cousin of Beauty and the Beast. That's a better description of it. It was a good retelling. I have read one before that I enjoyed more, which was East of the Sun, West of the Moon. don't remember the author of that one, but it's a fairy tale retelling. It's always a good romp. So I read that. And then the one that I just read on Monday was That Inevitable Victorian Thing by E.K. Johnston. Now, I didn't realize that E.K. Johnston was actually Canadian. I read one of her 1001 Nights retellings last year. Probably last year. But this one is set in the Empire. So it's basically if Queen Victoria had maintained the Empire and everything like that, with some concessions to like slavery is abolished and some of the revolts were successful and inspiring to others as well. So it wasn't an apologist history, it's an AU history, basically, alternate universe. And I think it dealt really well for a young adult romance with some difficulties. So like, actually that's a spoiler, so I don't want to go too far into it, but it did deal with sexuality really well, really gently, which is nice. And the changes that you go through as you grow up and you don't like, and your mind changes about stuff. So I enjoyed it. The ending felt a little bit rushed and kind of too tidy. I would have liked to see that this was actually going to have a sequel to kind of deal with some of the consequences of these actions. But otherwise it is pretty good. I really like E.K. Johnston's writing style. So I thought I enjoyed it. And then I am currently technically reading The 12th Enchantment by David Liss, which is an adult fantasy. And it's okay. I'm having a hard time getting into it. It's also really dense, like not writing style, but there's a lot of words on the page. I'm realizing that adult books have a lot more words on the page, whereas young adult books are kind of like in that middle ground where their font is usually a little bit bigger and their page size is about the same. So you get more pages, but typically less words. And that's one thing I really noticed with this 12th Enchantment is that the word, like the font size is smaller. So it's okay. Again, it's just kind of, it's very fluffy in a way. And I don't know, I'll probably finish it anyway. It's not that bad, but it's going to take me a while. So I think I'm going to pick up, I've got a ton of books from the library right now. There's 4 fairy retellings sitting on my couch right now, so I'm going to pick up those and see. They're not very long, but they're in the same series as Midnight Pearls, so if I don't like it, I'm not going to continue, because I just don't have time for that. And then I'm going to go on to The Crooked Kingdom, 6 of Crows and Crooked Kingdom by Leigh Bardugo. Bardugo? Yeah, I think so. Because I really enjoyed her other series. I think she wrote Shadow and Bone. If I screwed that up, I'm sorry, but whatever else I've read of hers, I really enjoyed. Yeah, because Daughter of Smoke and Bone is Laini Taylor. Right. I keep getting those ones mixed up because their titles are so similar that it's difficult. And they have a kick-ass female heroine or female character, lead, and dynamic male characters, so I get them mixed up. Anyway, that is what I'm currently reading or attempting to read or planning to read. Excuse me, and read. And then into chatter. I finally got back into the studio this week, so not much else happened last week. Lots of reading. Dallas is playing Kerbal Space Program right now, so I'm watching him play that and doing some knitting. He just finished Celeste, which was really good. I enjoyed that. Lots of platforming, so it wasn't something that I had to have my concentration trained on constantly, but the story that it did have was really good. I really like how they had an intermixing as well of real life things like Instagram with characters in the game. That was fun. So that was cool. I did enjoy watching that. And then this week I am in the studio, so club shipments are going out here in the next week. They're going out the first full week of March. And then I'm working on a bunch of bags just to go in the shop. So wedge bags right now. I'm also getting ramped up to get some new products out for the pop-up party. I will be I'm not the host, but I guess because Stash is the host. What would that be? The guest of honor, I guess? I don't know. Anyway, there will be new products there. So I'm trying to get my butt in gear to get those done because I want them out and launched for March 23rd. That's when I'll be at the pop-up party at Stash Lounge in Calgary. Because I want them for that show and then the other shows that I have in May. So I'm gonna kind of blend like self-promotion with that, with chatter, because I don't really have anything interesting to share. Yeah, there will be a pop-up party at Stash March 23rd, 6:30 to 8:30. I will be there. And there's a few things happening between now and then that are super exciting. I will be sending out a newsletter, and there'll be an announcement on Instagram and Facebook as well. If you've made a purchase from me in the past few weeks, you will have noticed it anyway, but I haven't made it totally official. But basically, watch those spaces. You'll find out it's actually going to be announced within the next few hours. And then it will be cascading through for everywhere as well as YouTube. But it's going to be a better reflection of the business. The business is going to go in a bit of a different direction this year with some of its additions, and there's a few changes that need to be made to reflect that, and it's good. I'm really excited about it, and I'm really excited to share it with you guys. I would announce it here, but I feel like I should probably do it on the other social media platforms and in my newsletter instead, where I'm a little bit better engaged right now. So the announcement will be on the next episode, which, if I do my best, well, I will do my best to get it out next week, actually. So because I'll have lots to share with you for a shop update. And yeah, I'm super excited to move forward with this. Before I start rambling, I think that is really everything. If you have any questions, you can ask me on any of the social media platforms, comment section below, or on the Ravelry group, which you can come over and join. Everything is currently under Nekozuki Knits, and I hope to see you there. Thanks, guys, and happy crafting. Bye.